The envelope arrived on a Tuesday. Plain white, no return address. It lay propped against the sugar canister on my kitchen counter, the same counter where I'd chopped vegetables for David's meatloaf just last week. My hands trembled as I picked it up. Inside, a single photograph, David and her asterisk, Elaine Carson. Arms wrapped around each other, laughing on a beach I didn't recognize. Sand clung to the edges of the print as if it had been taken recently. My heart didn't race. It stopped. I remember the sound of the mail slot thwacking shut, the cheerful chirp of the neighbors' wind chimes, the cruel normalcy of it all. David had been distant for months. Work, he'd mumbled. Just stressed, Maggie. I'd believed him. 32 years of marriage will do that to you. You stop questioning, you trust. But this was a knife twisted in the gut. I slid open my phone, dialed Thomas Reynolds, my lawyer, a man with eyes that missed nothing and a voice like gravel in a tin can. Thomas, I whispered, my throat tight. He's gone, he's with someone else. Silence on the other end. Then softly, Margaret breathed, tell me everything. The Cedarville Public Library smelled of dust and regret. I sat hunched over microfiche machine 3, scrolling through back issues of the Cedarville Chronicle asterisk. Elaine Carson. Her name had appeared only twice. Once, local businesswoman Elaine Carson joins Henderson and Partners accounting firm. Date, 8 months ago. The same week David started working late. The second mention, a society page blurb. Elaine Carson and David Harrison spotted dining at Le Chateau Etoile 2 weeks ago. My hands froze. David hated French food. He called mussels barnacles. I printed the page. The ink felt sticky under my fingertips. He'd taken her to Le Chateau. David's office building, 3rd floor. I waited in my sedan across the street, a worn copy of Asterisk War and Peace unread on the passenger seat. At 6:03 p.m. he emerged, alone. He lit a cigarette. I'd made him quit 10 years ago, then walked toward the parking lot. He didn't go to his car. He turned left, walked 3 blocks to the diner at the corner. My stomach dropped. I followed, sat in a booth tucked in the back, my face shadowed by a large menu. He entered, sat across from her. Elaine. She wore a crimson blouse, the same shade she'd worn in the photograph. David reached across the table, took her hand. She smiled. He smiled back, not the smile he gave me when he brought home flowers. This was different. Hungry, secretive. They leaned in, whispered. My fork slipped from my numb fingers, clattered against the plate. David looked up, scanned the room. His eyes met mine. For 3 terrible seconds, we stared at each other. Recognition, horror. Then he jerked his hand back from Elaine's, his face drained of color. Elaine followed his gaze, saw me. Her smile vanished. She stood abruptly, knocking her chair backward. It scraped against the linoleum like a scream. David rose too. Maggie, what are you? I didn't wait. I fled. Ran out into the chilly Indiana evening, the bell above the diner door jangling mockingly behind me. Thomas's office was all dark wood and the scent of old paper. He spread the photograph and the diner article across his desk. This is actionable, Margaret, he said, tapping the photo. But we need proof, not just suspicion. We need asterisk evidence. He handed me a business card. Asterisk Argus Investigations. Discreet and thorough, asterisk. Pie, Thomas said. His name is Frank Bellwether, retired Cedarville PD. He won't miss a thing. I nodded, my knuckles white around the card. That night I sat at my kitchen table, staring at David's empty chair. The house groaned, settled, accused me of loneliness. My phone rang, unknown number. I answered. A man's voice, low and careful. Mrs. Harrison, Frank Bellwether, I have your husband's location. He's currently at an apartment complex. 214 Oakwood Avenue. Unit 3B registered to Elaine Carson. I wrote the address. My pen dug into the paper. Ms. Carson works late, Frank continued. But your husband, he arrives around 7 p.m. most nights, stays until midnight. I hung up. Oakwood Avenue was only 10 minutes away. Midnight. I parked 3 houses down from 214 Oakwood. Streetlights cast long, skeletal shadows. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. At 12:17 a.m., David's SUV pulled up. He got out, glanced around, asterisk did he sense me, asterisk, then hurried inside. Unit 3B's blinds were sheer. I watched. Lights flicked on. Then, there they were. David, Elaine. On the couch. He poured 2 glasses of wine, handed one to her. She leaned into him. He kissed her hair. My breath hitched. Elaine stood, walked out of view, returned wearing a robe. David pulled her onto his lap. I couldn't look, but I couldn't leave. My phone buzzed. Frank. Mrs. Harrison, I'm parked behind you, saw you follow him, not advisable, you need to. I cut him off. I'm staying. Silence, then, understood, I'll keep watch, don't do anything reckless. Reckless. The word echoed. At 1:23 a.m., Elaine stood again, walked to the window. She pulled the blinds aside and looked directly at my car. I ducked too late. My headlights had been off, but the dashboard clock glowed. Betrayal radiated from those eyes. She pointed. David turned. He squinted into the darkness. Then he ran. Out the door, down the steps, toward my car. I started the engine, revved it. He pounded on my window. Majijai, open the door. I locked the doors, floored the accelerator. Tires screeched on pavement. In my rearview mirror, David sank to his knees on the curb, head in his hands. Elaine stood on the porch, arms crossed, a victor. The Cedarville courthouse. Polished marble floors echoed every footstep like a guilty secret. I sat on the hard wooden bench beside Thomas, my hands folded so tightly my nails bit into my palms. David sat across the aisle, beside Robert Mitchell asterisk, his lawyer. Robert was young, ambitious, with a smile that didn't reach his ice-blue eyes. He'd shaken my hand once at a firm holiday party. His grip had been firm, assuring. David speaks so highly of you, Margaret. Liar. Judge Patricia Vance entered. Stern, no nonsense. Her gavel cracked once. We are here, she began, for the dissolution of marriage between David Harrison and Margaret Harrison. Mr. Mitchell, you may begin. Robert stood, smooth, confident. Your Honor, my client, Mr. Harrison, seeks an amicable dissolution. He is prepared to offer his wife the marital home, subject to the existing mortgage, and a settlement of $50,000. He asks for sole custody of their assets and a swift conclusion. Thomas stood, his voice cut through the air like a blade. Amicable? Your Honor, Mr. Harrison has committed adultery. He has established a separate household with Elaine Carson, a woman he began seeing while still married. Moreover, we have evidence he has systematically drained joint accounts and transferred over $200,000 into an account held solely by Ms. Carson. David shot up. That's a lie. The judge silenced him with a look. Thomas continued, calm, relentless. We have bank statements, dated transfers, and we have photographic evidence of Mr. and Mrs. Harrison together in Ms. Carson's apartment. Robert Mitchell smirked. Photos can be doctored, Your Honor. My client denies these allegations. The judge turned to David. Mr. Harrison, is this true? David swallowed, sweat beaded on his forehead. We were separated, emotionally separated. I felt neglected. Neglected. The word struck me like a physical blow. Thomas didn't flinch. Your Honor, Mrs. Harrison discovered Mr. Harrison's affair asterisk 8 days ago asterisk. They were still sharing a bed asterisk the night before she found proof asterisk. Emotionally separated is a convenient fiction. David's eyes found mine, pleading. Maggie, please, don't do this. I looked away. Testimony. My turn. I walked to the stand. The courtroom swam. I gripped the rail. State your full name, the clerk said. Margaret Elaine Harrison. Thomas approached. Mrs. Harrison, when did you first suspect your husband was unfaithful? A month ago, he started coming home late, smelled like perfume, not mine. A ripple through the gallery. And when did you confirm it? I received a photograph of my husband and Elaine Carson on a beach. Thomas handed me the photo. I held it up. Objection, Robert snapped. Hearsay, unverified. Overruled, Judge Vance said. Proceed, Mr. Reynolds. Thomas nodded. What did you do next? I hired a private investigator, Frank Bellwether. He provided me with an address. 214 Oak, Unit 3B, Elaine Carson's apartment. Thomas handed me a stack of bank statements. Can you identify these? I flipped through them. Transfers from our joint account to an account under Elaine Carson ***. $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. The amounts grew larger, more frequent. All signed by you, Mr. Harrison? Thomas asked, turning to David. David paled. I authorized some transfers for business expenses. Thomas produced a ledger. According to your firm's payroll, you were only reimbursed $1,200 for business expenses in the last year. Where did the rest go, Mr. Harrison? Robert objected again, sustained. But the damage was done. Thomas saved the best for last. He played a recording. Click. David's voice. Just hold on, Elaine. Once the divorce is final, I'll transfer the rest. The house sells and we're set. She'll get nothing. Thomas Reynolds is already on our side. He needs the retainer. He'll make sure the settlement favors me. Elaine's voice. And Margaret, she won't suspect a thing. David, she's too busy playing the devoted wife. By the time she realizes, we'll be in the Bahamas. Click. The courtroom erupted. Robert Mitchell shot up, face crimson. Objection, illegally obtained. That recording is inadmissible. Judge Vance leaned forward, her voice icy. Mr. Mitchell, are you admitting you are on their side, that you colluded to defraud Mrs. Harrison? Robert froze. Thomas smiled coldly. Your Honor, Mrs. Harrison recorded this conversation from a public park bench *** outside Ms. Carson's apartment. There is no expectation of privacy in a public space. It is entirely admissible. The judge turned to David. Mr. Harrison, do you deny this recording is of your voice? David stared at the floor. No. A collective gasp. I watched him, the man I'd shared my life with, the father of my children, now grown and unaware of this circus. His shoulders slumped, defeated. Then, Robert Mitchell did something unexpected. He stood, walked toward **me**. Mrs. Harrison, he said, his voice suddenly gentle, concerned. This has been traumatic for you, but perhaps we can avoid dragging this through the mud. A quiet settlement for the sake of your dignity. He placed a folder on the table in front of me. Inside is an offer, $75,000. Sign today and we can all walk out of here. No more scandal, no more pain. Thomas bristled. Your Honor, this is highly inappropriate. Counsel is attempting to intimidate my client mid-trial. But the judge waved him off. Her eyes were on me. Sign, walk away, be quiet. The gallery watched. Neighbors I recognized from the grocery store, church ladies, their eyes judged. Poor Margaret, how could she not know? Robert leaned closer, lowered his voice so only I could hear. No one wants to hear the rest, Margaret. The other *** things David told Elaine about your mother's inheritance, the money you hid, the nights you spent comforting your sister while David was out with her ***. Sign, protect yourself. My blood ran cold. He knew. He knew about the $150,000 from Mom's estate, the money David * never knew about, money I'd kept in a separate account, my * safety net. How? Unless David had been going through my things. I opened the folder. The settlement agreement. And beneath it, a photocopy of my private bank statement, the one with the $150,000 balance. David had stolen my privacy. Robert had weaponized it. I looked up at David. Tears streamed down his face now, real ones. "Margaret, please," he whispered. "Let's not humiliate ourselves." Humiliate myself. I picked up the settlement agreement, tore it in half. The sound echoed in the silent courtroom. "No," I said, my voice clear, calm, cutting through the stunned silence. "I will not be silenced. I will not accept your blood money. I want everything that is rightfully mine. And I want the truth all of it on the record." Robert Mitchell's smile vanished. Judge Vance banged her gavel. "Trial will reconvene tomorrow. Mr. Mitchell, you and your client will remain in custody until then. Bail is revoked pending further investigation into financial fraud . David was led away in handcuffs. Robert Mitchell tried to follow. A deputy stopped him. "You too, counselor. You're under investigation for collusion and obstruction." That night, I didn't go home. I drove to Willow Creek Retirement Community, to my mother's old apartment. I still kept the key. The place smelled of lavender and loneliness. I sat at her small kitchen table, the one where she'd taught me to make lemon meringue pie. My hands shook as I pulled out the hidden folder from the bottom drawer, the one David never found. Inside, Mom's handwritten will, leaving me everything. And a letter. "My dearest Margaret, life will test you, men will fail you, but remember you are strong, stronger than you know. When David falters, and he might, do not crumble. Stand, fight. The money I left you, use it to build a new life, not the one he tried to steal. Forgive him, that is your choice, but never forget your worth. With all my love. Mom." I clutched the letter to my chest. Sobs racked my body, deep, guttural sobs I'd been holding back for 32 years. Not just for David. For all the small betrayals, the ignored glances, the dreams I'd set aside for his asterisk. For the woman I'd stopped being. Courtroom, day 2. Robert Mitchell was disbarred on the spot, led out in handcuffs. David took the stand again, broken. Thomas asked the question I'd been dreading. "Mr. Harrison, during your affair with Elaine Carson, did you ever discuss your wife's private finances?" David wiped his eyes. I found a statement. In her desk. I was angry. She'd hidden money from me. I told Elaine. Robert said we could use it against her." "So you plan to use your wife's private inheritance, which she never hid from you out of malice, but out of prudence to blackmail her into accepting a meager settlement." "Yes," a broken whisper. Thomas turned to me. "Mrs. Harrison, what would you like the court to know?" I stood, walked to the witness stand, looked David directly in the eyes. I knew David. He flinched. "I knew the moment I saw that receipt. The jewelry you bought the same jewelry you denied me on our anniversary. I knew when you started showering at night, so Elaine wouldn't smell my lavender soap on you. I knew when you stopped touching me." I paused, let the words hang. But I stayed, because I loved the memory of the man you were not the coward you became. I pulled out the torn settlement agreement, held it up. "You thought you could buy my silence, humiliate me into submission, but you forgot one thing." I leaned forward. My voice dropped to a whisper, yet every soul in that courtroom heard it. I was watching. The gallery gasped. David's face contorted in shock. All those nights at her apartment, I was across the street, watching, taking pictures, recording everything . Not just for the court, David, for me . So when I lie awake at night, wondering how it all went wrong, I can remember. I can remember your face when you kissed her. And no, you chose her . And in doing so, you lost everything . Judge Vance cleared her throat. "Mrs. Harrison, the court appreciates your statement. Regarding assets, you are awarded the marital home, all joint accounts, your mother's inheritance, untouched, and punitive damages of $100,000 for fraud and emotional distress. Mr. Harrison is ordered to pay restitution and will face separate charges for financial misconduct. David slumped in his chair. As the bailiff led him away, he turned back. One last look. I met his gaze. There was no anger left, just emptiness. A hollow space where 32 years of love had once lived. I stood outside the courthouse. The Indiana wind bit at my cheeks. My phone rang. Unknown number. Elaine. I answered. Margaret. Her voice was smooth, venomous. You won. Congratulations. I said nothing. But David, she continued, he never loved asterisk me either. He told me last week he still loved you asterisk, said he made a terrible mistake, that you were his forever. A knife to the heart. He used us both, she hissed. He's weak, pathetic, and you sat there. Let him walk all over you for asterisk years asterisk. Did you really think watching him with me would make you feel better? You're just as culpable. She hung up. The words echoed. You're just as culpable. Was I? Had my blind trust enabled him? I drove to the old oak tree at Cedarville Park, the one where David proposed. I sat on the bench, pulled out the photograph of us on our wedding day, young, hopeful, drowning in love. I tore it in half. Let the pieces flutter to the ground. My phone buzzed again, a text from my daughter, Sarah. Mom, court is over, you okay? I stared at the screen. How do you tell your child that the man who taught her to ride a bike, who held her when she skinned her knee, who stood proudly at her wedding, was a fraud? I typed back. Everything is fine, sweetheart. Daddy won't be living with us anymore, but I'm safe, and I'm strong. I deleted David's number from my phone. Block. Then I drove. Not home. To the highway. North. Toward the unknown. I had the house, the money, my mother's letter tucked safely in my purse. And I had the truth. The ugly, shattering truth. As the town of Cedarville disappeared in my rearview mirror, I whispered to the empty car. What do I do now? The wind howled outside. It offered no answer. Only the open road. And the quiet, relentless echo of a question I wasn't sure I could answer.